introduction out of the way. Welcome to another episode of the WOD Junkies Podcast. If this is your first time listening, thank you for being here. We talk about fitness stuff because WOD Junkies is for workout of the day. No, that's not really working. But we're affiliate owners. We talk to other affiliate owners and other athletes and really anybody who will come on the show. That's insert here.
Jarrod, insert here. Hey, I'm Jarrod. With us is two-time Olympian Vaughn.
Now, Chad's been on the show before. As a matter of fact, we're thinking about just giving him the show because really
it's gonna be the WOD Junkies with Chad Vaughn.
With Chad Vaughn, yeah. So, but anyway, Chad, how's it going? I want to redo the introduction because that was bad.
I think it was great.
You think it was great?
Yeah, I mean,
what are we?
Welcome to the WOD Junkies.
Yeah.
Welcome to the WOD Junkies. No, welcome to. I don't know. Let me think about this for a second. I'm not sure how I'm going to introduce this.
See, now there's no pressure.
No, there's no pressure. Look, we're sponsored by Corona.
No, we're not.
Hey, we listen to the Chris Wheeler's podcast.
We might be.
Doug is sponsored by everybody. Porsche Automobiles, LaCroix Water.
No.
We're not sponsored by Corona.
We're sponsored by Gila Valley CrossFit and Carpet and Zen Productions.
And that's fake shit.
Well, that's enough. I mean, that's all you need, right?
We wish we were sponsored. Corona, if you're listening, we would love your sponsorship.
Hashtag Corona.
Hashtag Corona.
Hashtag
Corona and lime.
Lime. Gotta have the lime in there.
Brought to you by oranges and bananas. They are our sponsors today. No, they're not. Anyway, let's explain a little bit about what we're doing here, why we're here. Right now, we were going to shoot this podcast in the van.
We keep threatening to do that, by the way.
It's going to happen one day. Now,
I just wonder how the audio is going to go in the van. Is it going to be good?
Honestly,
I'm not sure.
I seriously think the audio in the van would be better than in here.
Probably.
Because this place is
that's what I think.
Shiz. Anyway. But I think, we could set it up to sound pretty good. Let's talk about... Alright, first of all, let's talk about Chad, what he does, right? Now, Chad, you are an Olympic lifting coach, right? Primarily. What is that? Would it be safe to say that's your primary job?
Yeah, it's interesting that I still have a hard time accepting myself as a coach for some reason. I don't know. I've never really seen myself as a coach. I am a coach. I coach weightlifting. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it is about that word coach. I think it's because I came up I'm not a millennial, right? So I'm 38 years old, so I feel like I
What year were you born, actually?
1980.
Damn,
okay?
you missed it by a year.
Yeah. So I feel like because I'm not a millennial, sorry if you're a millennial, I have more respect for the coaches that I had back in the day, right? So I guess I just hold that title of coach to a very high regard. There's only a couple coaches in my life that I ever called coach, like Coach Ogles, for example. All my high school coaches had, the few high school coaches I had the title of coach. I said Coach Ogles or Coach whoever. But beyond that, I guess I just hold that title to a high regard and a high standard. So it's a little bit weird for me to have anyone call me coach. I don't know that I think I have a couple kids that say Coach Chad, but that still creeps me out. So. But anyway, yes, I coach weightlifting. Sorry for the rant there about the coach, but yes.
I'm a little.
So you coach weightlifting?
I'm a little ashamed that I have a shirt on that says hashtag coach on it now.
Yeah. Well, okay. Oh, I forgot to introduce Jarrod. Jarrod's here too.
Hey, I'm here.
Jarrod's the other half of the WOD Junkies podcast. Probably the better half.
No.
Definitely the better looking half.
No.
No?
I don't know. He's the face.
I think it's a tie.
He's the face of the WOD Junkies.
He's the face and the body of the WOD Junkies. He's why we get the ladies.
Well, I mean, dude, look at your beard, man.
It's a pretty sick beard.
I mean, it's looking good.
Thanks, buddy.
And the hat, the way you wear that hat, I mean, you could challenge him to be the face.
See, I'm telling you.
There's a good challenge there.
All right, challenge accepted. But going back to what we were...
We'll have a fan vote. We need 6 of our listeners to vote on who the face of the WOD Junkies should be.
I think we're up to about 60 downloads between...
How many did you download?
5 podcasts.
Well, hey, that's my other podcast that is very stalled out right now because it's very time consuming and it costs money to get it produced and all that stuff. They became superheroes, by the way. Yeah, you are. But hey, maybe we should talk after this. Maybe you can help me out with that. But
let's talk about it right now.
But yeah, you know what? I think my second podcast, They Became Superheroes, is the recordings are sitting at about 60 downloads. So, you know.
Now you sent a couple of test ones to us, right? I think you sent 2 episodes.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, I've listened to all the ones that you've downloaded so far. And awesome.
So,
I like them.
Yeah, I think it's a great podcast. Sorry,
I think I was done, yeah.
Well, I got a little bit intrigued when you started talking about coaching, right? And how you still... Now, I don't identify as a millennial, not because I think the millennial generation is stupid or anything. You know, I'm sure there's full of hard workers, and technically I am a millennial. You know, I was born after 81.
Oh, later.
I know, right? But, I mean, I didn't get an email address until I was in my 20s. You know, I didn't know how to look up anything on the internet until I was in my 20s. I wrote reports in college and everything from an encyclopedia. You know, it's just the way I did things. And I still have coaches that coached me, you know, in high school that I still refer to as coach. Mm-hmm. You know, one of them actually goes to our gym, and I still call him coach.
Yeah.
You know, he coached me for 4 years, and 5 years. He coached me for 5 years, and I still refer to him as coach. So I forgot where I was going with that, but
just about being a coach.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about being coaches, but I think coach, it's a pretty high thing, and you know, I still look up to the guys that coached me. You know, I still think of them quite highly. Like I think highly of you. I don't call you coach because like
please don't. It'll freak me out.
It'll freak you out. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna see like in my mind. I tell people you're my coach.
Okay, well hey, I'll take that as long as you don't just like refer to me as Coach Chad.
Is that
right? Like that doesn't sound right. I mean,
it sounds a little creepy. I don't know why.
Coach Chad. That's not like Coach Vaughn. Maybe is a little better, but that's yeah.
Next time I text you, it's gonna say, "Hey, Coach."
I won't respond.
I figured that much. It ain't happening, but it's a good threat.
You know, it's really funny. My supervisor's name is Chad, right? And I text him a lot of work stuff, and anytime I go to, you have no idea how many times I've almost accidentally texted you pictures of hydraulic schematics. You have no idea.
Interesting. I'll take a look at it.
I think
see what's going on.
Yeah. Anyway, so talk about where are we at? We're in Thatcher, Arizona right now. We're actually in Jarrod's house, in his kitchen, or add-on kitchen, right? And Chad,
it's in the dining room.
Yeah, in the dining room. And Chad, you're here because you drove down to do a seminar with us, and it's something you've done before.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. I know you've been getting a lot of traction lately on social media with your seminars, and you know, mostly thanks to me and the videos I've made.
Absolutely,
obviously.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about that. Since you've been working quite a bit more, like what's it been like? Have you been traveling a lot more? Have you been enjoying it a lot more? Just let's talk about that. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, you know, really, I don't know if I've been as far as seminars or clinics. I don't know why I like to refer to them as clinics more than seminars, but I don't know that I've been really working anymore. I think I've just been putting more effort, you know, while I'm at home, really trying to put more free content out, you know, on social media, and kind of revamp the website a little bit to where I could put more content out there, trying to do more writing, which it probably is my greatest passion is writing, and then of course the USA Weightlifting podcast, but really putting a lot more energy and effort into that, and because of that, I'm definitely having more people, a few more people here and there reach out about doing clinics and just generally asking questions on advice, and so I try to respond to any message that I get on Instagram or anything else with at least a little something for someone to help them out in any way that I can, and that's been a little bit of a shift, because it's hard to, when you're in this profession, it's hard to commit, especially a lot of your time to something that doesn't have any financial return, straightforward financial return. And I'm not, greedy or one that I feel like I need to be rich or anything else, but that's been something that's been hard for me to accept, and not really accept, but to commit time to, and kind of say, okay, just go in on faith and do the things that you want to do, make the content that you want to make and put it out there for free, and whatever happens. And worst case, you get nothing in return, but you help someone, and that's what I want to do anyway. So that's been a shift, and I think it's paying off. It's starting to pay off. And like I said, I don't think I'm really traveling or working anymore in regards to doing clinics or seminars. But I think what's going to happen with the focus that I have right now is that at least a little bit more interest will be there for the places that I go. So
definitely. Now we've had you a few times, right? And we've always had a pretty good turnout.
Yeah, I mean, I think we made a full day out of it every time, but it's been awesome. I know that today, I think was first few times you came, you were kind of fine tuning it. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit different. This is the first time we've had the session 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, the session 1 being the squat. I call it squat/mobility assessment, right? That one I think everybody would benefit from. Mm-hmm. And even the people that are like, oh, we've already worked with him before, I don't think it matters. That one's awesome to me. So, now that we have that, I think that we can move forward with that. And you work with enough of our members on multiple occasions that today you got to work with people that you worked with before, mm-hmm. and got to see the stuff that they'd worked on, yeah. Whether it was better, the same, or not. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're having that connection with our gym now that we didn't have before. So, for us it's been great. Getting to come to our small town and small gym and whatever, it's been huge. And today was really, I got so much feedback from today just based on all the members that went through the different sessions that were like, man, that was awesome. So I'm hoping next time you come, mm-hmm. it'll be even more. You know what I mean? It's, yeah. What you're doing is awesome. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think for me the whole goal is after doing this for a good number of years now, let's see, how long has it been? Since early 2010, I've been, doing seminars in some way since that time. So, and I'm always fine-tuning. I still don't have it figured out. I don't know that I'll ever have it figured out. But what really drives me to continue putting out free content and, building the following and everything else is the way that it has been up to this point is your guys' gym has been by and far one of the most successful ones that I've come to, because you guys have completely bought in to what I'm trying to teach and the concepts that I want people to understand, breaking things down and basics, and hey, let's fix your squat first before you worry about maxing your snatch and all that kind of thing. And I'm so thankful that you guys are on board with that, and that you have really pushed it to the point to where you basically had to talk people into signing up. So, you guys as owners and coaches of the gym have really driven those sign-ups, and if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't be there. I know they wouldn't be there because at a lot of other places that I've gone, if the owners and the coaches don't understand that, even though they might be excited about me coming, their members aren't going to really understand or know that how much they're going to benefit from signing up. But what I'm hoping and what I'm really pushing for and what I'm motivated for is through pushing more through social media and more people being exposed to that if I post that I'm going to be somewhere, it will help those gym owners out more than it has ever done in the past, because even though people might know my name and they might, know a little bit about me and hear the name, by putting out this free content and by them seeing me hearing me speak through an Instagram post and seeing instruction and everything else, hopefully that'll push them to come a little bit more than it would before.
And I forgot what I was going to say now, but since you've been coming to the gym and teaching our people, like, it's been huge for us. It always like revitalizes, and I've been following around and shooting all day, right? Been shooting you for almost, it's pretty close to a year now, footage that I have that I'm still sorting through, and it's
I apologize for that, by the way.
I've heard Chad coach more than anybody alive. But no, it's great, and I've gotten to see how it's evolved, since the first time we ever went out together. And I know that you've done a lot more that I haven't been there, that we haven't been there shooting. But I don't know, just the basics. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier, how we just, all three of us really just have such an appreciation for basics, things that make sense.
Yeah.
We've talked for hours on end about it, and that's one of the really great things, and that's why we enjoy having you so much, is because we can always sit down and go back to basics. And if you're going to have a good, strong foundation for anything, you need to go back to basics.
Well, it's kind of funny for me too, because I feel like my CrossFit career has been based around weightlifting for one reason, because I struggled with it so much at the beginning. And then for another reason, like when I got a little bit better about it, I wanted to be better about it, so I started taking courses. And it just so happened that when you were still teaching the advanced weightlifting course, I went to that at the same time, and that kind of stuck with me from day one, which led me to go into the Power Monkey camp, and it's led to today, honestly. Like, me being a gym owner, I may not have had that experience had I have not struggled with it myself, wanted to get better at it, went to the course at the right time, met you, and then that whole thing just kind of stuck with me. So it's kind of funny how it came full circle, where it's, you're coming back, we're following you around the States sometimes, and it's been great for me, because I like coaching it so much, I like doing it so much that, it's a free learning experience for me to, I went to seminars, I've done different things, like I could buy a plane ticket and go hang out with Chad for a weekend and learn more than what I learned at a seminar. So it's been great, but I don't know that my path would have been the same had it not worked out the way it did. Like, it's kind of funny how it came full circle for me, I guess.
Yeah, I've learned so much from you. It's stupid,
Stupid.
But just a lot of times I'll just turn off the camera and pretend like I'm shooting so I can pay attention better, right? To just notice little cues and everything that you give, especially to the athletes that I personally work with. Just because, I like to learn. That's one of the things that I like to do. It doesn't matter what it is, I'll learn about anything. But yeah, I feel lucky just to kind of be along for the ride. Like, I get to be part of this. It's been really big for me. I'm gonna get emotional. We needed
Oh.
tears today, right?
Yeah, right, yeah. We've been talking about blood, sweat, and tears all day,
the
right?
blood and the sweat, no
Yeah,
tears
no,
yet.
there has been
Let's
no.
roll.
Well, were there tears today? Did anybody at all cry any at all today?
I don't think we should talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody did, we're not going to talk about it.
She's not gonna listen to it.
Yeah, she'll never hear this podcast. But yeah, there were a few tears today.
Yeah, just a couple. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about now, Chad, you've been working with both of us, Jarrod more often than me, than myself, but I've progressed a lot in my Olympic lifting since you've been helping me out. I know Jarrod has progressed leaps and bounds. I want to talk about like what we did today, right? I feel like it was a momentous occasion. I made a small video of it.
Well, for me too, like, every time Chad comes, he gives me crap if I don't schedule a session for myself, because like anybody, you need coaching, right? And I was gonna put myself in some sessions, but some other people took it over, which I'm fine with because I want my members to experience that same thing. And Joseph actually had a session by himself, so I threw myself in that session. And me and Joseph both have been following Chad's programming for the last couple of weeks, getting back on track. And I said, "What do you want to work on?" Because he's worked on everything with me at this point. We know my hamstrings are tight. There's no doubt. We've done snatch, we've done clean and jerk. You know where my strengths and weaknesses are. So I said, "What do you want to do?" And I also said that I had to make up Friday for the Vaughn weightlifting because I didn't get a chance to do it because I had to coach a couple classes. And then you had a session that was going on at 6 at our gym that I wanted to be involved with too, because it's some of my members that I work with. So when I told you that I had to do that, you said, "Well, let's just do the session as your guys' Friday makeup," which that was awesome because we went through your workout that you provide for us with your eyes on us, and that's something that I don't think I ever thought possible or would happen.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Well, I really think that Joseph just didn't want, or you just didn't want Joseph and I to have alone time.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm a little jealous actually.
Yeah,
So it worked out good.
But no, it was really good. I'm glad that the thought kind of came to mind, and that's really what made the most sense to me because I have worked with you guys in a regular personal training or small group session before, where like to me that would have almost been a waste of time for us to do again, a waste of your time because you need the time. You guys have a hard time finding time to do your workouts, right? So like you might as well do your workout in that block of time that we had, and it was definitely good for me to see you guys just go through a regular workout the way that you normally would, workout that I wrote that you guys are doing on the program, and I think it worked out really well again because we've done a lot of other sessions before, and you guys did a good job. I mean, that's like I said before, you guys, I had to say, and I'm going to use that word again, coach. I had to coach less today, and I really don't know why I didn't go ahead and start drinking beer during that session.
That's right. Yeah. For me, usually, I don't know, I say usually, every time I do the programming, I'm by myself. Because I'm either coaching, working out with a class as far as CrossFit goes, or getting my weightlifting in there. And I've been really making it a habit now that I have a schedule that allows it to do my weightlifting, so I'm always alone. I usually coach myself by videoing it and kind of watching through, but I kind of know where my strengths and weaknesses are at this point too, but to have an eye on you at the same time while you're doing a actual workout that's programmed for you is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not only through the snatch, but then even back squats and front squats. Like, how often do you get coached in back squats and front squats?
Mm-hmm.
Not very
Well, I mean,
often.
nobody thinks they need the coaching
Yeah.
in front squats and back squats because it's just this simple down and up. It should be a simple down and up. That's what it should be, but it's not. let's don't get started.
No,
it's good.
Let's not get started on the
Go
squat.
through my little squat presentation. Let's pull out the
I'm taking the
TV
microphone
right
away.
now, and we'll maybe plug my phone in, and we'll give the presentation right now. But
We promised ourselves we wouldn't say squat. We did it.
okay.
No, for me personally, I often end up doing a lot of programming alone because I have a fairly demanding work schedule. You know, I manage a bunch of other things, going with the gym, and then I have a small production company that I manage. And so when I work out, it's typically very early in the morning or very late in the evening, and I am alone, like Jarrod said, right? And I often don't have a coach's eye on me, and I feel confident enough that I know enough about Olympic lifting. I've been coaching it for a few years now that I know where my strengths and weaknesses are, and I do video myself quite often. I noticed today that I had an arm bend that really bothered me. After we shot some video, I was like, crap, that really sucks. Why do I have that early arm bend? But yeah, it's like, so it's a big deal for me to have an Olympian's eyes on me that, wrote a program that I'm on. It was really kind of I don't think a lot of people get to have the experience that Jarrod and I had today. You know what I mean?
I would agree.
And it was freaking awesome. So thank you for suggesting that we do that and sticking around with us and telling me to get out of the bottom of my front squat all strapped up with those horrible straps.
Got a little spicy there at the end. Yeah.
I was like, I don't have a front rack mobility issue. And he's like, oh, okay, just use the straps, fine, whatever. There's a lot of curse words going on in my brain.
Yeah.
Well, for me, like in my training too, like I'm the most experienced weightlifter, coach, and lifter at our gym. And we really don't have anybody that can like ever have a watchful eye on me. So like I really appreciate the fact that I got to do that session too. But at the same time, like I usually try to coach myself through watching videos and going back and forth. So it's just pretty cool to have that dynamic today.
Yeah.
For me.
Nobody ever wants to coach me.
Well,
I'll coach the shit out of you, bro.
And I welcome that coaching. I'm there to be coached.
Yeah. I mean, he may not agree with what you say, but
Yeah, right.
No, I'm coachable.
Yeah. But I think a lot of maybe the majority of the people in our community right now that are interested in doing the Olympic lifts, that want to do the Olympic lifts, are very much in the same or a similar situation as you guys. They don't have a lot of time. They have a demanding job. They have a family. Whatever those things in their life that they have no choice but to take priority over their lifting, but yet lifting or CrossFit is something that they very much love. So many people are in that situation. So I think it would be good to just maybe talk about a few recommendations that we could give to those individuals. Very much like my other podcast, I don't have any followers. I only have a few downloads. I understand maybe you guys don't have a lot of followers, but
the people listening don't need to know that.
Well, I'm trying to get some sympathy here.
We're
right?
popular as hell, guys.
We're trying to, we're trying to get some sympathy followers, right?
Okay, I'll take a sympathy follow.
We're turning down sponsors every day.
Yeah, right.
KTM tried to sponsor us.
Porsche automobiles.
Well, but here's where it's at. We give these few recommendations, 2 or 3, hopefully simple, easily applicable tips or recommendations to these people that struggle with time, that want to do more Olympic lifting, that want to get better at the Olympic lifts. What can they do? And if we can make this good enough, maybe it's something that people will share and try to help out their friends with.
Yeah.
So
tip number 1: wake up super duper early. 4 a.m. every day.
And go running. Oh wait,
Yeah,
No, it's way too cold to go
bad
running.
news. So with the sessions we have today, you know, like we're talking with just giving people that aha moment, whatever it is, like what was your biggest takeaway from today from some of, like any of the sessions that we had, some of the members we had, people we worked with before, maybe anything that kind of stuck out for you?
Is our gym the one you've been to the most?
Probably not.
The same gym? Yeah, probably it is.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've had an opportunity to have eyes on a lot of our people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there's one or two other gyms that I've been to a similar amount of times, but potentially, yeah. But yeah, I definitely had an opportunity to have eyes on some of your members a handful of times, and that's helpful. That's actually what I want. That's my, when I started to set the clinics up in this way, where there are 3 sessions, 3 different types of sessions that are prerequisite to session 2 is session 1 is a prerequisite to 2 and 3 and so on. The idea is not necessarily to get everyone through all of them in one trip, but rather to get them through 1 or 2 and then come back and take them through the 3rd one or the 2nd and the 3rd one, and then if they get through all 3 of those, to come back again and do some follow-up sessions where just reevaluate, see what if they've made any changes, what are they still struggling with, or are they struggling with something different, and that kind of thing. So that's definitely been a great opportunity for me to be able to come back and work with some of the same people on multiple occasions. But it's always comes down to, especially for individuals that I haven't worked with before, but even ones that I've worked with 3 or 4 times before, it always comes back to either explaining to them initially or reminding them that it's about prioritizing what you're spending your time on, and simplifying things. We talked about simplifying things a lot as well before we push the record button, right? But it's about simplification and prioritizing properly, prioritizing what you're spending your time on and working on, but also within each movement, within the actual movement, within an actual rep, 1 rep of a snatch, 1 rep of a clean, 1 rep of a jerk. How are you prioritizing what you're telling yourself to do, if you're telling yourself to do anything at all? And we don't have to dig into those details too much, because I could, give a 2-hour lecture on that, but that's what it's about. It's about prioritizing, but doing it in a simple, compacted way. Yeah.
Simple. I like simple.
I'm not smart enough not to be simple. I mean,
That's true. I'm definitely not smart enough to.
Being that you've worked with our gym, on multiple occasions at this point, like, obviously I've been getting to kind of follow you around, and every time you've come to our gym, I've just stayed there the whole day and kind of followed you around. I think I asked for permission the first time, and maybe took that upon myself the last few times, but it helps me as a coach, because there's times, like, I always watch a lift that somebody makes when you're watching them, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what's he going to say? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm like, oh, damn, I didn't even see that, you know what I mean? Like, it's helped me so much, because, we had some people over the weekend today that I've told them the same things 100 times, right? We talked about that. But you gave them some things that were different to fix that issue that have been, monumental in their lifting capabilities. So for me, like, it's awesome, because I get to, thrive off of that. And I feel like I'm a good coach, but not on the same level. And at times I'm like, oh man, like, this is great, because I'm seeing and learning stuff that I never would have learned elsewhere, I guess. I don't know how to explain that necessarily, but I've seen the same faults with some of the same people for so long, and then after 10, 15 minutes of working with them, they're like, oh, that looks way better than it did before, you know what I mean? So I really enjoy that part about you being able to come to our gym and hanging out with us. So
What he's saying is thank you.
yeah, for sure. Like it's been cool having you this many times and being able to follow you around and learn from you. And I want to be a better coach because of it. And you know, it kind of gives me that extra drive to coach them more, I guess.
Yeah, I always feel like I always want to be the best coach that I can be, right? But you know, sometimes you just kind of get stuck in a rut.
Absolutely.
You know? And I like that happens in every job, every coach, every teacher, whatever. Like, but having you around and like I'll go back and edit videos, right? And I go, man, I want to be able to coach like Chet. I want to be able to get through to people in the way that you do. And you know, sometimes I feel like I do an okay job, but at the same time, like I feel like if I'm not striving to be better, then what am I really doing as a coach? Yeah. If I'm not constantly improving, if I'm not constantly learning, right? Because who wants to learn from the guy that decides that he just knows everything? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and I see that in you. You know, like I mean, I forget where it says, but it's like it says that you're a student of weightlifting, right? And you've been doing it for 20-something years, right? And you still consider yourself a student. That's awesome. You know?
Yeah. I just laugh because, like I said, every time somebody makes a lift, sometimes I just want to blurt something out, and I'm like, it's not my place. I want to see what he says first. And then he'll say something. Sometimes it hits the same thing I would have said, or sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, didn't even look at the feet. You know, I was looking at something else. So I don't know, it's been cool. Like
I've got it pretty nailed down. There's like 3 things that Chad hits on.
Well, there's always 3 things, but
true.
You know, I might see one of the 3,
and
he sees the other one that I should have saw first. So I feel like I've just gotten better at coaching because of it. So.
Oh, well, I appreciate you guys saying that. You know, you're talking about being in a rut, and you know, I myself for a number of years have very much been in a rut, and I think we've talked about this before, so we don't have to dwell on it too much. But you know, I've very much been in a rut as a local CrossFit and weightlifting coach. You know, from where I'm at, and it's been a struggle for me and a learning opportunity too. So it's something that I'm in the middle of and still trying to work through and being, you know, better at certain aspects of coaching. I think my place in this community is better traveling and going other places and doing what I'm doing here. And maybe that's why I'm struggling where I'm at. You know, maybe I'm not really supposed to be there and that type of a coach, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna, you know, stop doing it and stop trying to be better at those things. So there's a definition of a coach, right? And again, that's why I think I struggle with that, with being called a coach, because
Coach Chad.
Yeah. But no, really, you know, there are certain things that characteristics that the best coaches in the world need to have, right? That someone that is a really, really good coach that deserves to be called a coach, that I don't have. And that's those things that I'm missing, that I try to work on and that I'm still terrible at. As a local coach, I don't necessarily completely need those when I'm traveling to other places and teaching.
Sure.
So you know, I very much relate to what you said about being in a rut, and I think that obviously, like you said, every coach, you know, finds their self in that place, especially with the people that you're around on a regular basis. That's at your home gym, and when you are, all of us that are coaches, when your people get used to you, when you're local and when you're in your hometown, it's not as meaningful coming from you as it is someone else. But so that's where I, you know, thrive on going to other places and being for the owners and the coaches of those gyms, being able to be their support and their backup and their voice of reason, I guess, like even though for a lot of places, especially with you guys, I'm very much saying the same things that you are.
Mm-hmm. Well, we learned from you.
Well, but maybe in a slightly way, and maybe coming from a prettier face. No, I'm kidding. But so that's what I really enjoy, is being that support, and like you guys said, hopefully a spark, for the community. And I hate for it to be a spark, meaning a spark means that people get excited and they do things for a couple weeks and then it dies off. But maybe for some people it's more than a spark, and I think for one or two people at every place I go to, it is more than a spark. It makes a long-term impact, not only on what they're trying to accomplish in the gym, but their life. That's very meaningful to me, and that's enough. If I reach one person per year in that way, then that's enough. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you had the opportunity to work with a lot of people that I coached this go around, and I mean, you saw how much they listen to me, and it's like not at all. Mm-hmm. But I look forward to Monday, because I'm going to be like, okay, we're going to go over the same stuff. Mm-hmm. But now that Chad said it, mm-hmm. And it's like, and I know we just keep throwing praise at you, but it's been great to have you, because I really do. I count you amongst one of the great coaches, right? Especially, definitely some of the greatest ones that I've ever worked with. But having that spark back in the gym, like I know that we're gonna do, and like when as soon as we knew we were gonna have you, right? Jarrod goes right back into programming a bunch of Olympic lifting stuff, right? And I coach a 6 a.m. class that's very basic, and I have to dumb a lot of it down, and or teach moves from scratch, and I have to teach the clean, and I take, I only have that class for 50 minutes, mm-hmm. and I teach the clean for 30 of it, mm-hmm. And then we do like a very modified version of the workout or whatever. But so like I said, when you end up coming, like Jarrod starts to program a lot of Olympic lifting, and I enjoy that time because I get to go back and teach. Like, mm-hmm. Okay, I get to teach these people to clean, and some of those people have been in the class for a long time, and they go, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to learn about the clean again, mm-hmm. No, this is gonna be awesome, trust me. Because of that, it revitalizes me, it lights my fire, and it's been a lot of fun. So I look forward to next week. I'm gonna switch back over to the 5 a.m. class. And
I feel for you though.
I'm gonna switch back. Yeah, see, no, he worked with them, dude. See, you know what I'm doing. See, when Jarrod comes,
I'm saying it's a tough time. It's a tough time.
It's everything about the people.
Yeah.
When Jarrod comes and coaches that class, they are like arrow straight, right? But when I show
it's because he's random, right? I mean, it's like
yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying because you're not the one that they see.
Yeah.
So they straighten up a little bit when somebody,
Yeah, but for me, it's utter chaos. It's fun sometimes, and it is. It's always fun, but I don't know. Monday's going to be interesting.
It's funny though. He's like, nobody listens to me.
Yeah.
So I go in there and I round everybody up. I'm like, okay, bring it in. We're going to go over the warm up, and everybody stops. They come in a circle. They listen, they do the warm-up. When we go over the strength of the skill, they all come over, they listen, and they go about their business. I'm like, what's he talking about? This is easy.
Well, let's talk about this. Again, this is what I'm talking about that I struggle with, because it's not just me, it's the same for every coach that's regular for the people that they come across. The people stop listening. Right? Now, maybe there might be one or two that are a little different. To me, they're on a different level in regards to
respect,
like just staying. And I don't know that it's even about respect. I think it's just, I'm not sure what it is, to be honest with you, but something about them keeps them in. It keeps them listening and on top of everything, and wanting to do anything and everything that they can to make a change and be better. And again, it's not like the other people don't want that, but something about the situation causes them to fade away in regards to hearing what you're saying. Literally, in the class, in the specific class that I'm talking about, I can say there are certain things that I can say that they hear, and certain things that they don't. And I say the same thing every time, and it's become a game for me. I experiment, and I'll just say shit to see if they are listening. And so I'll say, okay, I need 10 elevated heel air squats. Make sure that you're pausing briefly in the bottom on each rep. How many of them do you think pause in the bottom on each rep?
How often do we pause squats? And I'll say 3 seconds, 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not a 1, 2, 3 when you start the descent. It's 1.
But here it is.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have 3 people in that class, sometimes I have 7 or 8. So it just depends on the day. Maybe one every now and then will pause any amount. The other ones are just down and up, partial range of motion, and they know me. I've preached to them. I've given them my heart and soul. When it comes, I have when it comes to this squat. I've told them everything that I know, and that I believe, and that I want them to do, and so where is the disconnect? And is there anything that we can do in that situation? Is there anything that you can do as a regular local coach with the people that you see to make the situation better than it is? Or is it just something that we have to live with?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like if I step it up and I get, I don't know, maybe I need to get angry, or maybe I need to say, hey, look, I'm telling you to pause, why the fuck aren't you pausing? But I don't want to have to do that. Yeah. That's extra time and energy where they should just be doing what I'm telling them anyway. But is that what it's going to take? Is that what it's going to take?
So what we're going to do now is we're going to say, Chad says to pause, and they're going to listen for a while.
Yeah.
Whether that lasts very long or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see how long. Well, but you're in a different dynamic because you coach the same gym. Mm-hmm. Small town, I'm sure. You're a 2-time Olympian. They've worked with a 2-time Olympian for how many years now?
Yeah, many years.
Right? Like, it's just like us with the current members we have. So, like you said, some of them are great. They do everything you say. They listen well. There's a few that don't. How do you fix that? I don't know. Like, we can fix it right now. We can say Chad said to do it.
Yeah. So, for me, when I took over this specific class, right, it was primarily, it was like, well, who's going to be there and awake at that time in the morning? Well, Joseph will do it, whatever, send him. Right? And I had great feedback for the first year or whatever. So what I've done, and I'm like, how you mentioned, you kind of make a game out of it. Mm-hmm. I have to constantly reinvent myself as a coach just to keep interest. And and what I'm coaching here, none of them, a couple of them might listen to the podcast, so I apologize if you're offended, but
it's true. Yeah. It's like, I wish that all the people in my class would listen to this. And in fact, I say shit out loud. So, I'm sorry, we'll get back to you in a minute, but it's just upsetting to me, man.
Yeah.
I have a hard time. So when we get a new person that comes into that class, right?
Yeah.
I'll say to them, I'll be upfront with them, and it's where I've gotten hey, look, and I'll talk to them out loud when all these other people in the class that have been there for a while can hear me. I don't care. I'm not going to babysit you. I'll tell you to do something a couple times, and I'll remind you a couple times, and if you don't maintain that after that, then I'm basically done. I'm just here to run the class, and that's it. If you are interested in learning and being better and you have questions, I'll give you everything that I have. But beyond that, if you stop pausing the bottom of your squat whether I say it or I don't, pretty quickly I'm going to be done with you, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
But it's the same. I have to reinvent myself, or I have to schedule myself at a slightly different time and then come back, or do something, I don't know, totally different, and like I kind of started this whole thing this year, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to take your guys' crap, right? Like I want this to be the most enjoyable hour of your day, like that, and that's really the goal that I think every coach wants to have in their gym. The best hour of someone's day, I want it to be in the gym, right? So I want them to enjoy themselves. I want them to have fun, but at the same time, like, no, stop it. Come over here. We're going to go over the warm-up, right? I mean, if they don't listen, I'm going to go over the warm-up, and if they ask me, look, I went over the warm-up 2 minutes ago. Yeah. If you had questions, you should have asked them then. And I literally just explained it and demoed it. Yeah. And I still, I'll go help them if they legitimately asking for help, but it's so annoying. And especially, like, I just want to be a fly on the wall when Jarrod comes in there and coaches. And I realize that I have an easier time with his classes in the evenings when I have to cover for him. And I think those classes get cycled around enough that it's, there's enough coaches in there that people are fairly respectful of it, and they expect that kind of thing. But it's just been, so like I said, I'm looking forward to Monday. I get to say, hey, Chad says, right? It's going to be my new, it's going to be my new Simon Says game. Jarrod's getting that.
Well, but I'm glad that you said, because I have to remind myself of this all the time as well in this situation, is that, even if people aren't really listening that much, CrossFit and weightlifting, CrossFit especially, is such a positive thing. They're still getting a lot out of the time that they're spending in there. And I really, I'd like it to be a very enjoyable part of their day. But because I've allowed this to bother me so much, I know a lot of classes and a lot of times I've made it not an enjoyable day. Like I haven't done a good job, and that's what I feel
guilty.
That's what I feel bad about. And so I kind of think, and I'm kind of hoping that if I learn to just let go of it and be okay with, because honestly, a lot of people in the community, what they want out of being there is to just get a good, breathing hard workout in, and talk to people, develop relationships, have friends, and be a part of the community. And I think I'm slowly getting more there, and I think that's a good thing, because it's allowing me to let go of some of these things that I really struggle with, and learning, the people in class that are that, and being okay with coaching them a little bit differently. I actually used the word coach. Coaching them a little bit differently than the person that is asking more questions and that is pausing in the bottom of their squat when I say pause in the bottom of your squat.
Well, and this is just kind of an interesting thought that I had. I wonder if that is because you come from that kind of different era of coaching. You know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say earlier too, like, I feel like, during your prime, which, you set the record in 2008, right? 2007. Like,
God, get it right.
I mean, come on.
Sorry. Well, you went to the Olympics in 2008. I think that's where I got that confused. But
how dare you?
I feel like you have a disadvantage trying to do what you're doing right now based on you didn't come up in the social media era.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think there's been any Chad Vaughn hook grip 20 posts. Like you get a CJ Cummings or Matty Rogers or something like that. Like, but if that had been,
they suck, don't they?
I wish he would extend his hips.
Had that had been back in, in 2007, 2008, like I think the Chad Vaughn name would be even more prominent than it is now. So, we went back to talking about getting these clinics going at different places. I don't know, I just feel like you were at a disadvantage based on the social media stuff.
Yeah.
Coming back into it now, like, you're a 2-time Olympian, like, people don't understand what that is.
But what's amazing is how well you've adapted to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, making videos of you and for you and everything, I've searched high and low, and there's a few videos of you out there hitting like your heaviest weight, like your heaviest jerk, right? And it looks like crap. You know, I was like, I can't use this.
Yeah.
The video looks like crap, not the lift.
No, the lift.
That's what I thought for a second. Okay,
the lift looks good.
I can agree with you a little bit.
The lift looks good. I mean, you know, I've seen you lift better.
Yeah.
But
that's true. Yeah.
It's heavy.
That era of weightlifting is very poorly covered.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's getting better. People are going back and restoring, and I honestly think that one day you're probably not going to be appreciated for another like 10 years maybe. You know, I honestly think that when they go back and talk about the great American weightlifters in 10, 20 years or whatever, your name is going to be, you know, at the top of the list for that decade, from whatever 2000 to 2010, right? And then obviously you're still competing now as a master and still setting records and, you know, still winning things, and, you know, that's never going to be as prevalent, I think.
Well, but that being said, if I go to a master's competition right now,
right,
and I break records, that's going to be more known than when I broke the regular record in 2007 when I won the Pan American Games in 2003. That's going to get so much more attention. Which, I mean, I don't care. Like, I'm not at all doing it for attention. That's never been. I can easily say it's never been for attention because there was never any attention to get back then.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So
you do it.
Yeah,
it's
just
you're
interesting. Yeah, because I love the sport and I love to test myself and see what I can lift. That's it.
Yeah. And that's why I say I think, you know, when they go back and make that, and hopefully I get to make that movie. But, you know, your name's going to be at the top of the list.
Well, let's start planning that right now so I can.
And I'm making it slowly. I just need to follow you around the country a little bit more. And it just gets so darn hard. But, yeah. It's going to be awesome. It's going to happen. It's when people look back at your career, I feel really blessed that we're able to be able to say that we were a blip in it, right? Well, he came to our gym a few times and helped us out, and he coached me on my Olympic lifts. You know, I'll probably never achieve the prestige as a lifter. Where was I going with this? But
somewhere you were going somewhere
over there. I mean, you guys are drinking. I'm not even drinking.
I know. What's wrong with you?
We're pretty coherent.
We're doing great.
I need the clarity.
Pick it up, dude. Pick up the pace. You know, speaking of competing, you were talking earlier today that you're going to be competing next month in Salt Lake.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's what's that?
We're going to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be part of the
get it on video.
documentary.
Yeah. So no, it's Masters Nationals. So I'm a master weightlifter. I'll be 39 in May, and the master weightlifting classes are 35 to 39. So this is my last year in that age group. So in what would be 2020? Will it really be 2020 next year? Is it really 2019?
Remember when the world was supposed to end, like in the 90s?
No, Y2K, bro.
I remember that.
Y2K, man.
Dude, I remember that.
Scared.
I was in a hotel in Louisiana back then. So anyway, we don't have to talk about that.
I was at a dance.
Dance where at?
Probably sitting
In, I don't know, probably Pima. Pima, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, anyway. So yeah, 35 to 39, 40 to 44, 45 to 49, and so on. So like every 5 years until 80s or something like that. And
Every
it's just
5
80
years,
plus,
breaking
you know,
it.
whatever. So, I went to my first Masters Nationals in 2015. That was my rookie year as a master, and it was a good year. It was fun. I broke all the records.
You broke 6 in the same day, something like that, right?
Yeah. So every 9. Get it? Come on, Jarrod, get it right.
Nice. Jarrod even.
You did not.
But no, that was really that was it was a really big day for me. It was an important day for me. It was very meaningful, especially when I look back on it, because it was the culmination of my entire career up to that point. It was everything that I learned to allow me to choose the weights that I chose, to go out and make every single attempt, every weight that I put on the bar. And the first attempt in the snatch was a record. Obviously, the second one was in a record. The third one was in a record. The first one in the clean and jerk was a clean and jerk record and a total record. And the second one was 2 records, and the third one was 2 records. So, man, I was thankful to be there in that moment and to be able to do those things. And went again the next year, and I was nowhere near as strong or in shape, so I didn't break any records then. But going back this year, the weight classes have changed, and so it's kind of wide open to try to break more records. And it's not all about records, but at the same time, it's an opportunity that all the work that I've done in the past allow me to still be able to lift decent amounts of weight. Not because of what I'm doing now, really, but because of all of that work that I've done in the past. So I'm going again this year, and it's been probably, I can't remember. I think it's been at least 2 years, if not 3 years, since I've lifted at a national competition. So I'm looking forward to it. I competed for the first time in 2 or 3 years, just a couple weeks ago, to qualify for Masters Nationals. And so anyway, I'm going to Masters Nationals, and the major goal there is to break the records. To be honest with you, I want to.
What are they right now? Is it?
Because the weight, they're fresh, right?
Because the weight classes are new. I'm not sure that the records are official, but the ones that I've seen at this point are in the 73 kilo class are 114 in the snatch and 141 or 142 in the clean and jerk. Again, I'm not sure that those are for sure. I'll have to verify that. I really don't care what they are. I'm gonna try to.
I'm gonna crush it.
I'm gonna go after them. But also just to go and even though that's the major purpose and major goal, to go and just have an experience, to go on a trip, to hang out with other master lifters and people in the community that love the sport just as much as I do, to be around those people, to be in the environment, to step foot on the competition platform, to go perform a lift out there on the competition platform that I did so many times for so many years before, that I don't get the opportunity to do near as much as I do. So I'm more thankful and appreciative for those opportunities, obviously, than I was before.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's the end of March in Salt Lake City. You guys are going to be there.
We're going to try our hardest to be there.
I definitely want to be, man.
Yeah.
Because I've never been to a national event. I've done a local event on my own. Shit, that was back in 2014, I think, at this point.
14 or 13, yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So this is reminding me of the conversation that we were starting to have before you pushed the record button. You told us to stop talking because you wanted us to say it.
I did.
I was getting a little bit aggravated at Jarrod because he was...
I want to segue into that.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Segue.
So, but yeah, we're gonna do our best to be there. We should probably look into getting press passes. But
how do we get backstage, by the way?
Yeah.
Is there any way
That's
possible?
a good question.
Yeah,
I can find out.
I'm genuinely curious about that.
Okay.
Can I coach you?
I can.
Yeah, I can probably get you.
No, I'm a USAW level 1 or whatever.
Are you a USAW?
I can be.
No, he's not. But I could.
That was a joke, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go backstage and pretend I'm your coach.
With the camera.
With the
Well, if you get a media credential, like
Yeah.
you're good, you know.
But I
Don't worry
mean,
about
I
it.
think I should be able to get in with the USAW credentials, right?
I think you can. I'm pretty sure you can get a mediator credential.
Cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about Jarrod now.
Let's.
Jarrod is a fairly accomplished lifter.
Accomplished as in how?
I said fairly. Accomplished.
Well, let's put it this
Elaborate
way.
a little bit.
Let's put it this way. Look, there is no reason for him not to go compete at Masters Nationals. Now, not this year. That's too late to qualify,
Right.
and all the deadlines have passed and everything else. But there's no reason for him not to be a national level Masters weightlifter because it's what he loves. He's good at it. He moves better than most athletes that I come across when it comes to the snatch and clean and jerk, and I'm confident that he would enjoy it. So there's no reason for him not to pursue that level of activity in his life. It's going to give him something to work for. It's
It'll be over
it's
here on
there.
Shadows.
it's
No
there.
reason not.
There's
to.
no. I don't see any reason. I can't think of any reason. I mean, maybe there's a slight time constraint there, right?
Yeah, maybe.
But no, not really. Like that's not enough to where it can't be easily scheduled out and overcome. So and even there are lots of opportunities. There are more opportunities to compete on the national level. Through these last couple years than ever before. And so the American Open Series, for example, there's American Open Series 1, 2, and 3, and that leads into the finals that is in December. American Open Series 1 it's too late to qualify for that and everything else, but one, he can qualify as a regular lifter with the qualifying totals that there are, but he can also qualify at a lesser total as a master lifter. If you go as a master lifter, I don't remember what the placements are, but there's an opportunity for you to qualify for the regular American Open as a master lifter as well. Not very many master lifters get to qualify and go to the finals, but there is that opportunity there. And if you qualify at this day and age, if you qualify for the regular American Open in any way, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. There's a lot of people that put their
eggs in one basket for that one.
Well, no. I mean, what I'm saying is that they love weightlifting and they go compete and they spend their whole lives trying to qualify for nationals, for the regular nationals or for the regular American Open, and they never do it. So there's these opportunities out there that people can pursue and to compete on the national level. When you compete on the national level right now, it is bigger than an international competition ever was when I was coming up. As far as the number of people there's 3 or 4 competition platforms going on at one time, just because so many more people are interested. When I competed at the national championships, all those years that I did, the audience, there was one competition platform, that's all we needed. There wasn't very many people lifting. The qualifying totals were legit. I mean, there were legit lifters there, don't get me wrong, but there just wasn't very many of us. Any local competition that you can go to right now will be bigger than those national competitions were back then. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to the point. There is zero reason for this guy not to pursue this goal in this activity in his life.
And I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
Chad Vaughn would, be your coach and go. Like, I'll go too as a secondary coach, but really I'm just going to be the guy there with the camera, giving you a few cues and making you feel good about yourself.
Right.
But who gets to say that 2-time Olympian Chad Vaughn is his coach at a national?
Who's to say that Chad would want to go to something that I went to nationals for?
I'm not going to
I mean,
comment on
I'll probably be there anyway.
Yeah, right. Commentating about. I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
This is actually one of my lifters. Nope, no, he's not. Dropped it.
Oh, he just bombed out. I don't know this guy. For me, like I've done one weightlifting meet years ago, and I've always wanted to do another one. Just haven't had the time or the means. Job's been crazy the last few years, but now I have ability to stay training, so I don't really have any excuses. But you know, I think it'd be fun to try. And just, I don't know. That's a big goal, but
yeah.
I just said nothing. Like I didn't hear anything else come out after that. I mean, it's done.
It's done, right?
The decision has been made, and it's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just need to decide. And actually, I can look it up right now.
When is the next one?
Competition are you going to go to here? Let's see.
I'm gonna go.
So while you're looking, like knowing where I'm at right now, like those are numbers that I've hit before. Obviously, 4 years ago at this point. I haven't been off and on training at this point to know how fast I can gain some of my strength back.
It doesn't matter.
I know, but you've been through this though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know where I'm at right now. How long before you think those numbers are attainable? I would have to probably
What numbers? The numbers that you did before?
I would probably have to clean and jerk about 110 and snatch 95 plus. I've done it before.
Let's see here.
But it's been 4 years. And I'm older.
I've never done it before.
I'm older. I've actually snatched 100, but that was
Alright, so for the next national competition you can go to, and again, what has to happen is that you have to look at the calendar and you have to decide which one you're going to go to, and that's it.
You train for that one, right?
The decision has been made, and that's what you're committing to. So the next American Open Series is in July, the end of July. The qualification period is up to June 23rd, 2019. And I don't see any master. Wait. No, here it is. Okay, yeah, masters. 81 kilo class. How old are you?
Right now I am 35. I'll be 39.
So you're already there. 166.
That's what the total has to be?
166 for 81 kilos master lifter.
Okay, I could have done that today.
That's what I'm saying to you. There's no reason for you not to go do this and get the experience and get the, make a trip out of it.
But I don't.
And
I don't
the regular
it anymore.
The regular, you can borrow one of mine. I've got like 15 of them. So, that's actually, it's clean.
Dude, that'd be sweet. Might give me superpowers or some shit.
I'm not saying I wouldn't wear Chad Vaughn's singlet. I'm just saying.
The regular qualifying total is 199, which you're also capable of.
So, with that, you have the option to do regular or masters?
Yeah.
No matter how old you are?
No. Well, no, you have to be, if you're a master, you can choose to do regular or master.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think
it's only 166.
Yeah.
Dude, I could almost hit 166.
What's your UB 73 is 156. Are you masters yet?
Yeah, I'm 34.
Will you be 35 this year?
Mm-hmm.
This calendar year?
Yeah.
So you're a master then, right now.
Sweet.
Yeah, the year you turn 35, you're a master. So yeah, your 73 kilos would be 156. The only thing is that you guys would have to go to a local meet and do that total at a sanctioned competition, which we'll do at your gym.
Because we know Chad Vaughn. Right? No, I'd have to train a lot more to get there, but I like his enthusiasm and his optimism.
Those aren't huge numbers though. Like, I figured they'd be more. We were talking about the numbers earlier being like 197. What was that?
That was 1 Maybe for Masters Nationals. Let me check. Sorry, folks.
Technical difficulties, but no, you should do it, dude. I'll keep
down.
I'll keep training by your side, and if Chad won't be your coach, I'll go as your coach.
I'm down. Like, I would absolutely want to do it. Just never done it before, so it's something.
All the more reason to do it.
Yeah, right.
And well, that goes for any of the 5 listeners that we have out there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to this.
So yeah, that was the Masters Nationals total is higher at 197.
That was what they lifted at it, or what you had to qualify to?
That's the total that you need to qualify for Masters.
So what is the other one you were looking at?
American Open Series 2.
Okay.
So Masters, it's already too late for you to qualify.
Yeah.
But American Open Series 2 or 3.
Okay.
Which 3 I think is in September.
But I don't think that 197's out of the question.
No.
Either.
Not at all.
I don't know. It'd be fun.
All right, so we're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
The decision has been made.
And it's on video and recorded, so you can't go back on it.
But no one's ever going to watch or listen to this.
It doesn't matter. It's legally binding.
Legally binding.
I'm excited for this now, because I might be able to be a coach at like a national event.
Because I lifted 205 total last time I did it 4 years ago.
205.
Mm-hmm. And I went fairly conservative, but I would like to hope I could get back up to those numbers fairly easy. You know.
Right now you're on 2-time Olympian Chad Vaughn's program, and you're gonna get back to those numbers in just a few weeks.
One day on the program here.
That's the selling point.
I've been following it for 2 weeks, and I'm already
qualified for Masters
really
Nationals,
sore.
No, I really feel like I just need my strength back. Like, I feel like my technique's still there. Technique and mobility are still there. Like, a few weeks ago, I just couldn't stand anything up. So,
Well, how about this? I'll make it a legit goal. That way, you have to make it a legit goal, and you obviously know that you're going to surpass me faster. You just gain strength faster than I do, right? So there you go. It's like, but maybe I'll creep up and win. You never know.
You might. He has to always be thinking about that in the back of his mind.
So 81 kilos is the new number for weight. 81.
For your weight, but
Yeah.
you're I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. What are you weighing
If I
right
put
now?
on like 10 pounds of muscle, I'd probably be about 180.
You could gain that in your legs in a couple.
Yeah, if you can
months.
get 180 would be
Because-
great.
Well,
Because then you can, cut down, or I don't want to say cut because it really wouldn't be that difficult for you to just sweat it off right before. 81 kilos
Thinking
is
like a coach.
81 kilos is 178.
I think I could hit that because when I did the meet a few years back, I was pretty lean, but I was a stronger. Like, I had more muscle mass, and I'm pretty sure I weighed in at like 182, and I was at my strongest then. So I think it was mostly muscle mass at that point because I'm not like any bigger or fatter than I used to be. It's just I lost a lot of muscle.
You're not nearly as lean as you were. But I'm working with you for as long as I have now. Like you don't struggle in that aspect usually. You just start eating clean and then you'll be fine. Sweet, I'm excited for this. Oh, me too. I'm gonna try really hard. I'm gonna stick to my training regimen. Mostly just doing Jarrod. I don't know you, but help push you along. That's why I was really excited when I was like, yeah, sweet, we get to do the program together. Even though we never get to live together, ever. Today was the first
Today
time.
we did.
Yeah.
Under the watchful eye.
Of Chet Vaughn. Coach Chet.
Said it again. He said it again.
It's kind of starting to grow on me a little
Is
bit.
it?
After you saying it, yeah.
Is it with me saying, with us saying it?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I haven't said it yet.
Say it.
I'm kind of avoiding that conversation.
Say it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You can't do it.
That's okay. Like there are some like, yeah, I couldn't do it either. I don't think I can call anyone coach other than my high school coaches.
Yeah.
I really don't. I really don't. My weightlifting coach, Richard Fleming, that's been my weightlifting coach since I started.
Mm-hmm.
I've never called him coach before.
Really?
Never.
Huh.
Only my high school football coaches.
Yeah.
Still to this day, if I talk to my high school football coaches, it's, hey, coach. Only people I ever called coach.
Yeah, like my high school wrestling coaches. Those are the only people I really call coach anymore.
So, I don't have any coaches other than this guy. So,
but you don't even call him coach?
No. Not going to happen.
All right.
No.
Thank you. Sir Chad.
Thank you.
That's about how we get it. So, walk us through a weightlifting meet, like on a national level. Like, what's the preparation like when you're there? Do you have a coach? Like, being as experienced as you are, do you coach yourself at this point? Do you have somebody to go with you? I know, obviously, your wife is awesome weightlifter herself, so.
Yeah, really doesn't matter if it's masters or just a little local meet. I mean, you kind of need the same things either way. For me, it really doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I guess that's hard to say because I've always had someone there to help a little bit. So I can't really say for sure that it would be okay if they weren't, but I think I'd be fine. But it is helpful to have someone in the warm-up room to
be on the clock.
Yeah, to keep an eye on just the general flow of the competition, where it's not really even about where the weight is, what weight's on the bar. It's about how many competitors are in the session and how many attempts are going to happen before you're called up. Yeah. Right? So counting attempts is what is the phrase that's always said. You need to know how to count attempts. And so basically you have to understand that each competitor has 3 attempts in the snatch and then 3 attempts in the clean and jerk. And so if someone is starting at 50 kilos, for example, and you're starting at 70 kilos, well, you can reason that this lifter is going to take all 3 of their attempts before you go, right? And so it's the same for however many people are ahead of you. If the athlete is starting with 65 kilos and you're starting with 70, then you can think, well, this athlete is at least going to take 1, maybe 2 attempts before I go. So you kind of have, for those people that are close to you, you kind of have a little bit of a range, but that gives you an idea of, generally you say 1 attempt is going to take, what we say is we typically interchange 1 attempt with 1 minute. Doesn't always work out perfectly, but that's just kind of
the somebody can change their
that we follow.
By 1 kilo, they can say we're going to lift 80, and then I want to lift 81, and they got another minute on the clock, right?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
So if we say if we look at the list and we say that okay, you have 30 attempts before you're up, we're gonna say that's 30 minutes. Okay. So whether it's minutes or whether it's attempts, we typically take a warm-up every 3. Right?
You want to be primed for when you're going to
go. That's how we kind of judge it, and I get that that's probably a little confusing to the 5 listeners out there, but
well, I've been to one meet as a coach, right, and I played it by ear and watched what other coaches did, and had my athlete. I was like, okay, every 2 minutes I had him.
Yeah,
right.
That's pretty good.
And I would say okay, and both of us, we just kind of knew pounds.
Yeah.
And so I'm there with my calculator going kilos, right? And he was trying to think about that, and it was freaking him out. And I'm like, don't worry about that, just load up what I tell you to load up, hit it twice, then go rest, right? Mm-hmm. And then, this is super valuable to me. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, again, we're talking about things that are simple and simplifying things. It's really not that difficult. It's just a matter of you, one, understanding and accepting the fact that it's really not that difficult. Like, it's not as difficult as it seems or as you think it would be. It's simply about counting. Like, we can all do basic arithmetic, and we can, I'm lucky that I know how to count from Oklahoma, but I can count, and I can, reason with numbers, right, that are here on these cards that we're looking at. And so it's really not as difficult as a lot of people think it is. It's just a matter of there is some strategy, and there are some rules that you have to know up front, a few here and there, so you understand that, like, for example, if you whatever you put down, so when you weigh in, they ask you what your starting attempt is. So you declare a starting attempt, and you can change it, I think, 2 times.
You have to go up, though.
Yeah.
Correct?
Well, no, you can go down as long as the weight is not already loaded on the bar. Okay. So if 70 kilos is loaded on the bar,
you can't go down to 69.
You can't go to 69. Right. So you can go to 71 if you were at 75, as long as they haven't loaded it yet. But you can only make a certain number of changes per attempt, and so that that becomes part of the strategy and part of the game. And another thing is that if an athlete follows themselves, they have 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. So you have to factor that into the timing of your athletes or your warm-ups as well. But again, it's really not that difficult. If you are interested in going and coaching someone at a competition and learning this, it's really not that difficult to find someone that has done it before and that understands it and that's willing to help you, that's willing to let you shadow them. I promise you can easily find anyone to do that. Anyone in the community is happy to help you learn how to do that. And that's all it's going to take is just you kind of seeing it in action one time, and you're going to be more than likely good to go. Yeah.
Well, when I did my first one, I think 4 years ago at this point, like, I coached myself through it, and I didn't know all that stuff yet. So there was one point where they were, like, calling my name to the platform, and I'm like, oh, shit. Like, and I think I got up there with, like, 30 seconds to lift. So it was pretty difficult by myself. Like, we were in a smaller building, and ton of people in there. There was a lot of lifters, and the way that one worked too was they had every lifter lift on the same platform. Yeah. So they started the weight at the very lowest person in the room, which was like a teenage kid, and then it worked all the way up to the heavyweight in the room. So I was kind of somewhere in like 3/4 of the top, and I kind of struggled with it because I was trying to hit my lifts back in the warm up area. There's a lot to it. I can only imagine on a national level, like, where that's at.
But again, it's not any different on a national level. Nothing is different. I mean,
the only difference is, I think, is that each weight class goes on their own, right? At a national event, like, if there's 81 kilos going, all the 81 kilos go.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, yes. Okay. Nowadays, there's like
enough of them. They have
C, D, E, maybe Z sections. I mean, there's just so many people.
So you think I can make it?
Not Z, but I mean, it's getting pretty close to Z.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've heard of like Z's.
Yeah. Well, no, there's a C. I'm going through the alphabet here.
Is there an F?
I think there have been G and H sections.
Really?
At this point, so.
Dude, I got a chance.
But before at a national competition, there might be, 2 weight classes that are grouped together. But still, it's not really any different.
Yeah.
It's all about the weight that the person is lifting.
Yeah.
It just goes on. They just keep loading weight, and whoever's up is up.
This is just something I've noticed over like watching competitions and going to a few local meets and stuff. Is like local meets aren't always the best run. Like you have like a 3-hour window where you may or may not be lifting. Right? You're like, oh yeah, we should be up in a minute. We're like when you watch stuff on a national level, it's like, oh, well, they're gonna lift at 2:30, and then you have your 2 minutes or whatever to kind of progress through. And whereas the meet that we went to, I was like, okay, so we're supposed to be lifting at 10, right? Well, we're a little behind. How behind are you?
Yeah.
Well, we lifted at 1.
Yeah.
That was when we hit our first lifts, and it was super chaotic and trying to pay attention, but like I said, I just tried to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
And said, okay, I'm watching what the other coaches are doing, right? And I'm nailing down the times at how long it's taking everybody, and then we didn't try to chase anybody in his weight class or anything like that. We knew where his conditioning was. We knew where we expected to be, and we just wanted to go out and hit all 3 lifts.
Yeah.
Right. That was essentially all.
That's really the best way to do it anyway. I mean,
yeah. We figured out warm-up times, and I think, and you know better, obviously. I imagine it's going to be easier to time on a national level just because of better organization. So.
Yeah, I think in general, all the competitions have gotten better. I mean, there are still a lot of people out there that are running, like more people that want to run local meets that are, a little inexperienced, and that's fine. Like, hey, do it. You need to do it to learn, and if you're going to do it once, please plan to do it 2 times and 3 times and continually, because you're just going to get better at it and understand how to set up schedules. And the better you set up that schedule and the better plan you have and the more experience you have, the more likely that competition is going to run on time. But really, the national competitions have gotten so much better than they've ever been. Like, they've really, I'm really surprised about, especially, again, we have 3 or 4 platforms going at the same time at every national meet, and they're running smoother than they've ever ran, with more people competing. And there are a lot of people out there that run local competitions now that are really, really good. The first couple times I ran one, I'm an Olympian, and they were terrible. They were like, I was embarrassed about how those competitions went, just because I didn't know, like, I didn't realize, like.
But you learned from it.
Yeah, I learned from it, but I basically tried to do everything myself, and I didn't understand, for competition, the concept of delegating and, using your resources and stuff like that. So I had to learn that, and also I've, most of the meets that I run now, I run a lot of competitions to at least, probably 3 or 4 a year, I would say. But I've, a guy named Bobby Circus that's one of the best at running meets that I've ever seen, and hopefully he doesn't watch this because he's one of those guys where I don't want to give a compliment to, but we give each other a hard time. But he's really good at running meets, and so, recognizing that and being that he's a friend of mine, I'm glad that he helps me out with these meets, because I've learned a lot from him. And I just ran one a couple weeks ago that I did on my own without him for the first time in a long time, and from the stuff that I learned from him, everything went very well and very smooth. But when he's there, things are really, really good. So you've got to get in, you've got to get the experience, you have to understand how to set up a schedule. If, for example, you have 12 people in a session, you have to understand that it's going to take right at about 2 hours, for example. If you have more than that, you need to make that session 2.5 hours. If you have 8 people, then maybe you can make it an hour and a half. So that kind of thing you need to understand and set up the schedule, because otherwise, if you set up a schedule, and what people typically do is they'll do every 2 hours, right? If you are unwilling to change those 2 hours, and for whatever reason you end up with 14, 15, 16, 17 people in a session, and on top of that, you don't have loaders that know how to load well, and you don't have other people in all these other places that there need to be that know how to do the job that they're doing, it's going to make everything run slower. So not only do you have too many people in one session, but you have the whole meet running slower because the people that are in place aren't completely familiar with what they're doing. Then, you're going to be off schedule, and it's going to piss people off. So
people are going to leave.
You have to take those things into consideration. And if you're unsure about how long a session is going to take, then schedule it for longer than you think it needs to go. Yeah. So
We definitely need to run a meet, though. I think we should.
Yeah. What about like, I don't know, we don't have any kilo plates at the gym, stuff like that. Like there's a lot.
I said I'll come and I'll bring the
I didn't know
kilos.
you'd bring the kilo plates.
Yeah.
I knew you said you'd bring the platform.
I'll bring the competition platform. I'll bring one competition set and maybe one or two sets for the warm-up room.
Okay.
So we're having a meet.
Before June 26th.
I see he's thinking.
That'd be.
I'd be in my own comfort zone, my own building. I mean, what the hell?
No, I'm into it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, we could get kilo plates and we could make all that happen. I don't think that's the hard part.
Yeah.
I think the hard part is making it run smoothly.
Right, exactly right. Yeah.
Totally into this. Put it on the list of things to do.
Right.
Okay, so
Another thing to do, right? It's all the things.
we gotta.
Which of things to do? I have to go pee. Sorry.
We have to get myself to nationals. So, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Chad says.
So while Chad's gone, we want to talk about. I want to go to Salt Lake, dude.
Me too. I got to figure out how that's going to work.
We need to figure out logistically how to make that work and be there.
We're going to Colorado. I guess that's in April, so that's afterwards. But it's like 2 weeks prior to that.
Right.
So.
Are you? No, I'm probably not going to be able to make it on that one.
Okay.
But where are you guys going for that?
We're going back to CrossFit Endure
Oh, okay.
with Clancy and Natalie and Matthew Fabrizio. They own the gym up there. We went there last time. It was a good turnout. They actually want to do 2 days at their own gym this time. So Nikki's got family up there, so we're going to go up there and hang out for a few days, and it'll be fun.
Oh, it goes so bad. When is it?
So bad. I'm pretty sure it's April 12th.
Oh, okay.
The 13th and 14th of the Saturday and Sunday, which will be the clinic.
Got it. Okay. But no, what did I want to say? Oh, let's do a little intro.
A little intro.
No, we won't do that. But yeah, I really think that we should make an effort to go there, and if we can get it, I know I can get in on the coaching credentials, for sure.
How are you a USA weightlifting coach? I'm not.
I don't know. I went to the class and you didn't.
I'm just teasing.
They make me.
I thought you ran.
I am I don't want to say talented athlete, because
Multitasking.
a multitasking athlete, yeah. But I know I can get in on my credentials, and I'm sure we could get. But honestly, I think it'd be easier to get us in with like some kind of a press pass. We do have a legitimate channel, so we could probably get in that way. I don't think anybody's gonna let me go in and be like, "Hey, I'm this guy's coach." It's just
Like, yeah, you're Chad Vaughn's coach, right? Be a turd.
people can dream, okay? Let me have my dreams.
Yeah.
I have many dreams.
Keep on dreaming.
But no, we can definitely go.
So, while Chad was in the restroom.
We decided that I'm going to be your coach at the national
right?
event.
Yeah, right.
But it's probably how I'm going to try
You're
to
going
get
to be
in.
the media guy.
Yeah, I'm okay with being the media guy. I just like to be part of things. I realize I'm not a competitive athlete. Okay, I realize I'm probably not going to go to nationals lifting, but I can go in and be the media guy.
I thought you were going to Masters Nationals.
I am.
To live.
Totally gonna do that. I'm gonna give it another shot.
Wait. American Open. Remember, we set the total.
I'm gonna give it another shot. Let's see what I can do.
73 kilo class. Wait, that's not it.
My comfort weight is 155.
Oh, for Masters, yes, Masters. Your comfort weight is 155.
Yeah, so 68.
67 kilos is a weight class. It's let's see, 143, 147.
because I just happen to be exceptionally heavy right now. Like this is about as I don't know. Maybe if I
really either way, 67 kilos is 155 and 73 kilos is 156 for the total.
Because I know at my ideal height and weight, if I was really strong and lean, right, I would probably be closer to Jarrod's weight. You know, the 170, 180.
The weight, 156 you can do right now. Think about that.
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
You're pretty
probably.
close.
You could.
Yeah.
We can go to the gym right now and do that.
I don't know. So. we try, but could I?
Yes, you could.
No, I want to do that.
70 kilos and 86 kilos.
Yeah. No, I have to do that.
154 and 189.
Yeah.
We have girls that can do that, so you better be able to.
I'd be a competitive athlete if I was a girl.
It's been proven.
Yeah, let me tell you, you'd be a handsome girl.
Thanks, buddy.
You'd be a handsome girl.
Is that a compliment? A handsome girl?
I don't know.
When the two-time Olympian, I guess we'll take it.
Sure. I'll take any compliment I can get.
So yeah, while you were away, we're gonna try to make it though.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do our best to get to Salt Lake. Now, you don't know which days you'll be lifting, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's...
Well, as it gets closer, will you know?
yes, so once the deadline to sign up approaches, which I'll have to check. I can check on that here in a minute. It's coming up pretty soon. They'll put up a tentative schedule. And usually whatever day they say you're lifting on will stay the same. Very rarely do they change the day. The only thing they might adjust is the time. So, which again, usually that doesn't happen either, but sometimes it does.
But that's something we can deal with, and I'm just spitting out ideas here. What if we made a short documentary on the process of doing all this, and who better to do it with than Chad Vaughn? You know, I mean,
I can think of a couple people that would be better. But, yeah, so
but I mean, you have so much experience at these things, you know, and what I'm doing here is I'm asking you if I can make a documentary about the process of going to nationals and breaking records.
No. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds cool.
No, and you can say no, because I'm going to be all up in your business for the next month or so, trying to figure it out, come up with a shooting schedule.
As long as you don't call him Coach Chad, you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I promise to stop. Hey, he said it.
Oh, he did.
Oh, shit.
What? I don't know if I can ride in the van with him tomorrow now. For 2 hours. Are you riding in the van tomorrow, by the way?
I don't. What is the law in Arizona?
Well, the law. I mean, it's against the law.
Yeah, but no. This excites me. This could be fun, and I honestly don't think. I think that'd be very original. I can't think of anything out there that would be.
I really, if you really put that together, and we put it out there, I'm confident that it would be. Yeah, I think that people would watch it. I think people would watch it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, here's what I want to do.
Just because weightlifting is popular, I mean, you know.
Here's what I want to do. I want to.
But you're putting extra pressure on me, though.
No.
I like it. I want this.
You're a competitor, man.
Yeah, I want it.
You need that extra
Yeah,
pressure.
I need it.
Here's what I want to do. I want to shoot a few sessions of you training, right? I want to see your process.
Are you going to make a road trip? Do I need to leave the van here so you can drive?
No. Maybe. I would. I'd come out to Texas to watch you train and to shoot you training for a couple of days and just see your process. I want to see the way you eat and the way you sleep and all that stuff. And I know I have a lot of that. We have a lot of footage of you in the van, and some of that will never see the light of day.
Oh, that one night when Jarrod spent the night with me in the van. Oh,
Never gonna live that down.
That was great for you guys. I was in the back of the freaking truck.
You look pretty comfortable back there. You look
where
cozy.
you actually belonged. If you, yeah.
It's the friendship. That's why I do all this. But no, I would love to do that. I would love to see your process. Get it out there. Intercut it with some legit interviews, and see how you do
Are
things.
you gonna be in the hotel room when I sweat the weight off?
Yes.
That's part of the story. I mean,
No, and it really is. I mean, this would be interesting to a lot of people, and I would definitely find it interesting, and I think that there's enough people out there interested in the sport of weightlifting that would want to see this kind of thing. So yeah, I'm gonna go make a storyboard like as soon as we're done here. We'll figure it out, and I'm gonna text you a lot. Are you okay with me texting you?
Well, only during
He hesitated.
12 noon and 1 p.m. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, whatever.
Awesome. But no, this could be really, really interesting. I don't know. I'm excited about it. I don't know if you're excited about it.
I am. I mean, you know, I don't show emotion very well.
Yeah.
Very often, or at all. I don't know. But
I can get you to do weird smiles.
I can do weird smiles.
A lot of those. There's gonna be a lot of those floating around Facebook for a while. And I know when we initially met you, you're like, yeah, I don't really do photographs.
I did?
Yeah. Well, that's what Jarrod told me.
I don't think that's what I told you.
No,
Must have made it up entirely.
Yeah, you must have just
Never been a thing.
That must have been. That was one of Jarrod's weird dreams that he had that he shared with you. I think. So he told us about when he was on fish oil. It was very weird. I had some weird dreams. So I was going to tell you guys one of the supplements that I took a decent amount was ZMA. So zinc, magnesium, and it helps you sleep. When I was taking that, you're supposed to take it right before bed. I had some weird, vivid dreams at that point, but never for fish oil though. That's kind of strange.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe it's weird. Maybe it's
because when you were doing that, I was having bad knee issues, and I started doing the same thing, and I started having, and I don't dream very much either. And Jarrod and I both were individuals that just don't sleep very much.
Yeah,
right.
I don't either.
Yeah, like we just. Like 4 hours, I think, is my average.
Okay, maybe that's not me, but yeah, I don't sleep well. But
you get 4.
Yeah, yeah, and see, and like it's just there's a small percentage of the population, I can't remember what they're called, but that just function on that lower level of sleep, right? And so honestly, the only time I ever dream is when I extend that 4 hours of sleep, right? I get like 8 or 9 hours or something like that, where every other weekend or so. And
does that happen?
Sometimes.
I know that's happened for me.
Yeah, it does happen to me.
Well, he doesn't have kids, though.
God, I have kids in my house.
That doesn't count.
They're still just as noisy. They're not mine, true, but they're still just as noisy. But but when I started taking a bunch of fish oil, I started having the same. I was like, wow, I actually dream. And I don't remember them being particularly weird or anything, but I remember just finding it weird that I was actually dreaming. I think I read up on it, and there have been studies that fish oil can actually put you into a deeper sleep, so you have longer moments of REM, which is rapid eye movement, which is when you're actually dreaming.
Okay.
So
I'm not crazy.
Well, you are, but
a little bit.
But yeah, so
you know what makes me have dreams? Corona.
So would that throw off your groove though if we came and tried to make a trip up there?
Probably, but no, I'm just kidding. No, it'd be great. No.
Like we don't. I know
it won't. It will enhance me.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't bother me at all.
Because I recognize and I know how competitive you are. I know that you're going there to go after records, right?
It will not affect me negatively one little bit. Honestly, like there was a time when I was a competitor where there were a few little things that bothered me, and I learned from those, and I'm better because I went through that phase of my career. At this point, it doesn't matter if I make a decision to go compete somewhere. It doesn't matter what's going on. I don't care I do care if you're there, but it doesn't matter if you're there if you're not. I don't need any extra motivation. Well, but what I'm saying is that it's not gonna affect me one way or the other. The only thing that it might do is it might give me a little extra drive. And again, I don't really feel like I need it. I'm not saying I don't feel like I need it, but again, that's the only thing that it would do. Is potentially give me a little extra drive, and that's it.
I just got to figure out how to get in the warm-up area, though. Like, that'd be cool to be there for that part without getting in the way.
Press pass.
Yeah, but
Like, we can get a press pass, and I can get back there with coaching credentials.
Yeah, I might be able to get an extra coaching credential. Yeah.
Yeah,
sweet.
at least for having a camera. I mean, other coaches and people might be bothered by that, but you know.
No, there's enough of that going on in the community now. I don't think anybody would care.
Okay.
I think most people.
Starbucks cares.
Well, Starbucks cares, but no. Most people in the community are. They're thankful that the sport is getting more recognition.
Yeah.
So if they see this going on, I think most people. And again, I can't speak for everyone. There might be one idiot out there somewhere that is just pissed off for anything, you know. But by and far, most people are going to be grateful that something like this would be going on. So
that was actually a huge shock to me when I started taking myself as an Olympic weightlifting coach more seriously and starting to get myself educated and stuff. I thought, man, Olympic lifters must hate CrossFitters, right? They must hate the sport. They must think that it's like a watered down version of Olympic lifting. Like, I didn't see the two living in harmony at all until I started talking and meeting with like high level Olympic lifters such as yourself and a few others. They're like, no, they love it because it's brought so much attention to the sport that they love, and I was like, wow, that's really cool, and it shocked me, and I didn't think they would be as harmonious with each other as they are.
I just looked, and we can fly up there for $500 for both of us.
Okay.
total, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not
I can get us picked up from the airport and even have like a nice place for us to stay.
Do you have friends in every city?
In every city in Salt Lake?
No, in every city in the U.S.
Oh,
in every major city like that.
No. Texas. Okay, I've got portions of Texas covered. I've got portions of California covered. I've got portions of Utah covered. And then there's a few places back east. Like there's a few places I can go, like in Mississippi, and a few places I can go in New York, and a couple places I can go in Mexico.
And there's also a few places that you can't go.
I can go.
We want to talk about that?
I can go just about anywhere in Africa. There's like 5 countries that I could find places to stay.
So
Canada, you're banned from Canada, right?
I'm not allowed in Canada anymore, but
okay, so 2 things we learned from this is I'm going to go to nationals.
I'm going to try to go to nationals.
And we're going to Chad's meet.
And we're making a documentary.
Wait. Let's make this decision right now. What meet are you going to? So are you going to
July?
American Open Series 2, which is in July, or 3, which is in September?
Let's go July.
Oh, I like that. Wow, that was a quick answer.
It was a quick answer.
You have to qualify.
I'm on the training right now, so just need to do it.
I'm going to continue to train with you.
Find you a meet, whether that be, I don't know if we can
we throw
make one happen between now and then, potentially, but we can also look at...
when are you doing your next meet?
That's a good question. When is that?
I feel like...
We do have another meet in Dallas scheduled. A local meet, yeah.
Before? Could Jarrod make it there?
That's a good question. Let me see.
Now you're just going to rain on his parade. These guys won't follow. They're following me everywhere.
Dude.
Legit, dude. Does that ever bother you?
No, it's a positive, man.
Okay.
It's a positive.
Because I just invite myself everywhere.
then by way.
Nice.
The more the merrier.
No, man, I think you could. And I'll continue to train with you.
Right. So, let's see.
I feel like
I know you can do it yourself.
I feel like if it's 166 kilos total, I can do that right now.
I don't realize that. I know you can do it by yourself. But I'm going to help you.
I'm not saying it by myself. I'm just saying I could do that today if I had to.
Yeah. So it's Albuquerque, New Mexico. How far away is that from here?
That is
5 hours.
5 hours.
That's our American Open Series 2.
Okay.
You drive. And again, you have to qualify for that first, but
When is that?
the qualification period is up to June 23rd, 2019.
We've got
Okay.
time.
So my competition is
And yours is in, you say Austin?
Dallas.
Dallas?
This one I'm talking about. It's actually going to be a cool event. It's part of the Europa.
Oh, cool.
I can't. So I do one at Europa. I've started to do one for the last couple years every year at Europa, and there's other events in the area that are similar to Europa. So I can't remember if it's Europa or if it's another one, but.
Yeah. So, but you could easily make that, dude.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, the numbers are as low as they are. I
Yeah.
think I get it.
No. Well, and we're already training. You
It
know?
pays to be a younger masters.
You know, it's funny in the sport of triathlons, right, and foot races, that kind of stuff. When it gets really competitive, like yes, there's the 20-something elites, right? They're fast. They're the guys that are shooting for nationals and worlds and the Olympics and all that kind of stuff, right? But when it really gets competitive is when you get in your 30s, because it's all professional type guys that now make money and can afford the expensive bikes and can afford time for themselves to go out. And I don't know if it's the same. I just don't know enough. I don't know enough lifters in the weightlifting community, I guess, to know if it's really more or less. And honestly, I feel like because it's so new. You know
Well,
what I mean?
it's becoming a weightlifting, masters weightlifting is definitely becoming a very, very big thing.
It's getting yeah.
It's gotten so big, because of CrossFit. But
See, that's awesome. So that's I don't know. Is it going to be more competitive now? Is it going to be less competitive? I don't know. I'm curious to see. I guess we'll find out.
okay, so yeah, this is within the qualification period. It's June 8th, I think. Let me see. Where are you at? June 8th.
And that's in Albuquerque.
No, that's the qualification, which is that's a potential qualifying meet for you in Dallas.
Okay.
That is.
So that's the same one you're going to.
So that you can,
Right.
so that you can go to
I'm running that one.
Oh, you're running now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you come, you're volunteering as a helper. You'll lift and you'll
And then
do
I'll
something
take
else.
weights.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah, I'll load.
I have no, you'll have the camera.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Can I lift
You
too?
can do, yeah, you want to, absolutely. So I have 2 signups right now. So both of you guys need to be number 3 and number 4.
It's in Dallas on June 8th.
I might be in Mexico in June. I hope not. But
Yep, K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center,
dude, we can.
Europa. This is part of Europa.
Yeah, that's cool.
Is it all the same day?
More than likely, it will be all the same day. Yeah. If for some reason there were just, like something over 75 signups or something, then we would maybe go 2. But more than likely, that won't happen.
Yeah, we could sign up, dude.
It's a long ways to drive to Bomb out, bro.
I don't say. Don't be saying that.
Hey man, I've driven further to do dumber things.
That's true.
Yeah, to Dallas. We could fly to Dallas. What do we need? Just singlets, right? Is
Well, you'll need a singlet for the national competition. You really don't have to have one for
it
this
for a
one.
local?
But I mean, might as well.
Yeah. I've got an old wrestling singlet.
That'll work. Or just a pair of panties and a bra.
I'm sure it doesn't fit anymore. I wrestled at 103.
And cut down to 103.
Not kilos. For most of my high school career. Yeah, dude.
I'm searching flights right now.
He's searching flights. I'm trying to think if I have any place to stay in Dallas. I don't think I do. I think the closest I have is no.
Back of your truck.
Flying to Dallas is not very cheap.
Dallas International is an expensive airport.
Yeah.
Honestly,
right now it says there's one flight left on one of the flights.
Truthfully, what it would do, it would probably be cheaper to get a flight to like Colorado that routes through Dallas, and then just not get on the plane. It happens. Yeah. I know I've done it before. Last time I flew to Mexico, we got routed through Dallas, and I know that the plane, that it was cheaper to do that than actually just fly to Dallas. I worked the system, dude.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyway, wow, this has gone on for a really long time.
Probably too long.
2 hours, 1 minute and 55 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But a bunch of it we're gonna cut out. So,
it's gonna be like a 30-minute podcast.
Yeah, that's probably the only good. We said 30 minutes worth of, maybe 30 minutes worth of good stuff.
No, there's at least an hour.
Maybe.
Oh, there's a lot of bullshit going on.
There was a lot of bullshit going on.
And that's really why, when we started this podcast, Chad said, okay, what are we talking about? I was like, I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. Let's just talk, right? And that's what we did, and it was fun. I'm sure we'll get something good out of it. So, Chad, thank you so much for being on the show. If I'm being totally honest, like, you inspired us to do this, the WOD Junkies podcast, the show and everything. A lot of it is due to your influence and, just how much you've helped us with stuff. Our whole modicum of the show has been based on, like, ideas that you had. So we really appreciate you being on. Thank you for coming. Yeah, anything you want to plug on the show to our 6 people that listen?
I don't know, man. Just
got a lot of clinics coming up, and
I'm always trying to put out content on social media, Instagram @OllyChad, OLYCHAD. Just revamped the website, VaughnWeightlifting.com.
It looks amazing.
Hey, I appreciate that.
By the way,
put a lot of time and work into that. So we're continuing to try to tweak it here and there. I'm going to add the video that you made to the website as well, and that's just going to make it even better. And trying to do more writing and a lot of collaborating with Aaron at Squat University, like we talked about. So he's a part of the blog post that I'm putting out, and try to do as much content with him as I can. And just really trying to, in any way that I can, spread the word of weightlifting and help people with their journey. A lot of people are falling in love with the barbell, and I want to be a source for them to do that. So that's it. That's all I want. USA Weightlifting Podcast.
Yeah.
So
definitely plug that one. I love that one, by the way. Yeah, I remember a few weeks ago, I was like, man, you know what? Because I do some web stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna get in touch with Chad, see if he'd like me to work on his website. And then I was like, no, never mind. Looks freaking awesome. So yeah, the website looks great. The content that you're putting out now is fantastic. And I've said this before about Dr. Horshady's, that him and like 3 other guys are probably some of the best, and now I put you up in that echelon.
That means a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Of good content, really appreciate that. It looks fantastic. Jarrod, you got any closing remarks?
No. Since I gotta start training.
He's all worried. He's like all in his head right now about what's going to happen here.
Yep.
So
I'm excited. I'm excited to start training for it. I don't know if I'll get the numbers that I need to get, but I'm excited to go on this journey with Jarrod. It's going to be fun.
Let me say this right now on this recording, and I'll say it again later, probably. you guys need to sign up right now. Not because I want your money for the sign up, but because I feel like you've made this decision, and that's the step you need to take. Like as soon as possible.
That's
Literally, you need to get on and sign up for that competition. I don't know. You're you a USAW member?
I was before. I just got to renew it.
Okay, so yeah, you guys will have to do that. That's will be the first part of the process, making sure that you're a member. You have to be a member if you're a coach.
I renew my coaching every year.
Yeah, so you should be good to go then. So you got that member number, and you can add that to the sign up, and that's the commitment. Like you've said you're doing it. That's not enough. You got to sign up, and you're done. You're in.
We're already doing the work. Now we just got to sign the paper. He's super nervous about this.
I know.
I'm nervous.
I don't think he's nervous. I think he's just like he's thinking about it. In his head.
Like honestly, when I did the last meet, I didn't get nervous. Like, just lifting. Like that's not the nervous part. Just the strategics of doing it, getting there.
Well, in the end, look, here's one of the things I've learned. At one point in time, weightlifting was everything to me. It was my life, so it made me nervous, and I still get a little bit nervous. Don't get me wrong, but in the end, this is about having fun. It's there are more important things in life. This is a part of life. It's an incredible part of life. It's fun, and you want it to be fun. At one point, it wasn't extremely fun to me, but now it is, and I'm glad that you're there. I'm glad that you understand that, and you're at that place in your life where it can be fun. It can be just an experience, and you don't have to be just overly nervous and it to where it's going to negatively affect you. So that's good.
I'm not nervous either, but I don't get nervous. That's kind of one of my flaws.
It's a strength and a weakness, but let's say it's a strength, man. You just use what you are.
Strength.
Use who you are as a I was going to say weakness, as a strength. Yeah.
All right. Well, wrapping it up again, Chad. Thanks for coming on, guys. Tune in for another episode coming. Who knows when? Whenever we actually get around it, like probably the next time we see Chad, because that seems to be.
You have 3-time guests.
You have been on the podcast 3 times. And we've actually had some good guests and everything. Chad's definitely the most prestigious, and one of them I haven't even put out yet. But yeah, again, thank you. We appreciate it. Guys, catch you next time.
Laters. Yeah.